let's open our first lecture activity spreadsheet for this exercise. Now, let's imagine that this spreadsheet contains weather information for all the various areas in Singapore. First column states the area in Singapore, the second column states whether it's raining, and we want to apply a conditional to help people figure out whether they should bring an umbrella or not. So here's the conditional we'll try to apply. If it rains, then take an umbrella, else don't bring an umbrella. Ella, So if it doesn't rain, then we'll tell them not to bring an umbrella and sing the Rihanna umbrella song to them, alright? Now, so here's how our formula will look on Excel. So we have the conditional to compare whether it's true. Then if it's true, bring an umbrella. If it's not true, don't bring an umbrella. Anyway, now that we're done with our first cell, we can just drag it to fill the rest of the column in the cells below. Ta-da! Okay, here you might say, but not all rain is heavy enough to warrant an umbrella. That's true, right? It's kind of lame to bring an umbrella during a light drizzle. So maybe we can have a set of instructions like this. If it is raining heavily, then bring an umbrella. Else, if it is raining lightly, use your own discretion. Else, don't bring an umbrella. So, we have three possibilities, right? Heavy rain, light rain, and no rain, which is covered by the last else. So, let's open up our next lecture activity spreadsheet. Similar to the first one, but instead of true or false, for the rain column, we have three possible values: heavy, light, and none. So, let's put in this formula for the third column. If the cell states that it's heavy, then bring an umbrella. As you can see, the third input is missing. So far, we've only managed to instruct Excel to say bring an umbrella when the rain is heavy. We haven't dealt with the other two possibilities, right? So, what should the third input be? It can't be use your own discretion, as that will become the output for light rain and no rain. Neither can we say don't bring an umbrella, because that will also cover light rain and no rain, right? So we need to have a more fine-grained split with our conditional here. So in a situation like this, we can put a conditional within a conditional. Yeah, this is known as nested conditionals. When we write conditionals like this, what we're actually doing is nesting another conditional like this. If it is raining heavily, then bring an umbrella. Else, now we nest the conditional. If it is raining lightly, use your own discretion. Else, don't bring an umbrella. Excel is very strict about the way we use conditionals. Of course, later we can write our own conditionals more elegantly. I'll talk more about this when we work on the actual coding. For now, let's just focus on Microsoft Excel. So how do we nest a conditional within a conditional? Like this. Now notice that for our third input, we're putting another if in there, right? That's to represent the else portion of the top level conditional. So now let's fill in the rest of the conditional, right? Ta-da! We're done! Now, you might be wondering, can I nest conditionals in the first if portion? Yes, you can. In fact, you can nest as many conditionals as you want. All you need to do is to nest the if within the second or third input of the higher level if. Here's a rather silly example to help you understand how we can nest conditionals. Let's say you are presented with a series of unknown objects, like this. You don't know what it is, so your main question about these things is, can eat or not, right? So what's our criteria? Whether it's edible, whether it's delicious, and whether it'll kill me, right? So how might we write a conditional like that? So let me teach you how you can use a tree diagram to help you map out the layers of nesting we need for the conditional. Let's start with edibility, shall we? Is it edible? So we can draw out the branches. Now be sure when you're doing this to exhaust all possibilities when you draw out the branches, as you don't want some cases to slip through the cracks. Now, in this case, the question, is it edible, has only two possibilities, yes or no. What about options like yes, but only if you are brave enough, or yes, but you can only eat once? Well, these are essentially variations of yes or no. So we can collapse all of them into one of these two branches. Clearly, if the answer is no, we can terminate our conditional with the answer, don't eat it, right? But what if it's a yes? Then we need to probe further with the next question. Is it delicious? Yeah? Well, again, we can exhaust the possibilities. For simplicity's sake, let's just go with yes or no. Is it delicious? Yes or no, right? If no, then we can just terminate with the statement, don't eat it, right? If yes, then we can ask one more question. Will it kill me? Again, you can, for simplicity's sake, let's just say yes or no, right? If yes, then don't eat it, right? If no, then we have no more questions to ask, so we can just terminate with the instruction, let's eat, right? So just like that, we have mapped out the conditionals and how we'll nest them. We have 3 layers of branches in total, and that comes up to 3 layers of nested conditionals. So let's now translate all that into the logical structure. Here I'm going to write it a little less like English and a little more like code or fake code, right? This is known as pseudo code. It's pretend code, so that we don't have to waste time writing full sentences. We just need to say enough so that someone else can understand it. So here's how it looks. If edible, then, and then now we introduce our next nesting, right? If delicious, then, if it will kill me, then don't eat, else eat. So we have and if. Now notice this and if is to say this is the end of our innermost nested conditional. So let's go to the next line. Else don't eat. This is a continuation of the statement if delicious, right? If delicious, then we will do all these things above, else don't eat it. And then we have a and if to signal that we have come to the end of that layer of nesting. And then we have the next line, else don't eat. Now this is connected to the first line, if edible, right? If edible, then do all these things, else don't eat it. And then we end our highest most level of nesting. Ta-da! Now, let me teach you some good coding and pseudo coding practices. If you notice in the example I just showed you, I've put different amounts of spaces, or what we call indentation, on different lines. Just by using different levels of indentation, we can identify which belongs to which chunk of code. And at the end of each nested level, we write and if to clearly indicate that we have come to the end of a block or a sub-block of code, right? This is to help us clearly identify which part of the code belongs to which level of nesting. Why am I doing this? Because coding is a social activity. It's a way for us to communicate algorithmic ideas between people. And so, these conventions in writing help facilitate clear communication between tech people and non-tech people as well.